Okay, back with another one. Project 2025, Part 3. Oh, shoot, I got to go live on Rumble. I forgot. Follow me on Rumble.
All right.
Okay, Project 2025, Part 3. Follow me on Rumble, Agena19, Agena 19. Download it. Follow me. Oh, shoot. I forget my code. Okay, so now we're on Part 3. Promise number 3: defend our nation's sovereignty, borders, and bounty against global threats. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Okay. The United States belongs to we the people. That's in the Constitution. All government authority derives from the consent of the people and our derives from the character of its people. The American people's right to rule ourselves is the averse of our duty. We cannot outsource to others our obligation to assure the conditions that allow our families, local communities, churches, and synagogues and neighborhoods to thrive. I agree with that wholeheartedly. What's wrong with that? The buck stops with each of us, so each of us must have the freedom to pursue the good for ourselves and those entrusted in our care. To most Americans, this is common sense, but in Washington and other centers of leftist power, like the media and the academy, this statement of basic civics is branded hate speech. I don't know how, because it's in the Constitution. Progressive elites speak in lofty terms of openness. Wait a minute, I don't know what happened here.
Okay. Project 2025, Part 3.
Oh, wait a minute. What is it saying? It's saying that what is it saying? Oh, it's still moving. I don't know what just happened on Rumble. I don't know how it's saying this is full, but okay. All right, I'm back. 'Cause I gotta go to bed. Progressive elites speak in lofty terms of openness, progress, expertise, cooperation, and globalization. But too often these terms are just rhetorical Trojan horses concealing their true intention, stripping we the people of our constitutional authority over our country's future. That is a fact. That is a fact. I wholeheartedly do not believe in the ideas to which our nation is dedicated: self-government, the rule of law, and ordered liberty. They certainly do not trust the American people, and they disdain the Constitution's restrictions of their ambitions. That is a fact. Now, what is going on with the cats? I know it's a blood moon out there, but what's going on? What's going on with the dog? You can't make this up. Oh my God. Okay. America's corporate and political. Okay. All right, here we go. Lord have mercy. Instead, they believe in a kind of 21st century Williamson order in which the enlightened sound like to the elite, enlightened, highly educated, managerial elite rules things rather than the humble, patriotic, working families who make up the majority of what the elites continuously call flyover country. This Wilsonian hubris has spread like a cancer through many of the Americans' largest corporations, its public institutions, and its popular culture. Those who run our so called American corporations have bent to the will of the woke agenda and care more for their foreign investors and organizations than the American workers and customers. That is a fact. Today, nearly every top tier U.S. university president or Wall Street hedge manager has more in common with a socialist European head of state than with parents a high school football game in Waco, Texas. Many elites' entire identity, it seems, is wrapped up in the sense of superiority over those people. But under our Constitution, they are the mere equals of the workers who shower after work instead of before. Okay? This is as it should and must be intellectual sophistication, advanced degrees, financial success, and all the markers of the elite status have no bearing on a person's knowledge of one thing the most necessary for governments, what it means to live well. I agree. That knowledge is available to each of us no matter how humble our beginnings or backgrounds or how unpretentious our attainments. It is open to us to read in the book of human nature to which we all are offered the key just by merit of our shared humanity. One of the great promises of the American political life is that everyone who can read in that book must have a voice in deciding the course and the fate of our republic. Because it's not a democracy, we are a republic. We pledge allegiance to the flag, to the republic in which it stands. This has been a republic, not a democracy. That kid, I, for real, y'all forgot. Y'all forgot? Yeah, I think y'all forgot. Okay. Progressive policymakers and pundits in America either fail to understand this premise or intentionally reject it. They enthusiastically support su- supranational organizations like the United Nations, like the Global Compact on Migration, because the United Nations run our borders and the European borders because we signed on for the Compact of Global Migration. Okay, anyway, and the European Union, which are run and staffed almost entirely by people who share their values and are mostly insulted from the influence of national elections. That's why they are eager for America to sign international treaties. That is a fact on everything from pharmaceutical patents to climate change to the rights of the child. That is a fact. Your children are being raised by the state, not you. That is a fact. And why those treaties endorse policies that would never pass through the U.S. Congress, like the progressive Woodrow Wilson a century ago. The woke left today sees the world by global treaties they write in which they exercise dictatorial powers over all nations without being subject to democratic accountability. That is a fact. That's why today progressive left so supports open borders, Despite the lawless humanitarian crisis their policy created along America's southern border, look at Europe, along Europe's borders as well. Poland, the only one ain't got no problem because they said no to migration. They did not let them in, only Ukraine. That is it, only Ukrainians. They don't have no problems over in Poland. Maybe that's where I should go. They seek to purge the very concept of the nation state from the American ethos. No matter how much crime increases or resources drop from school and hospitals or wages decrease for the working class, open borders activism, oh shoot, activism is a classic example of what German theological Dietrich Bonhoeffer called cheap grace, publicly promoting one's own virtue without risking any personal inconvenience. Indeed, the only direct impact of open borders on pro open borders elites is that the constant flow of illegal immigration surpasses the wages of their housekeepers, landscapers, and busboys. Ooh. Cheap Grace describes the left's love affair with environmental enthusiasm. Those who suffer most from the policies environmentalism would have us enact are aged, poor, and vulnerable. It is not a political cause, but a pseudo religion meant to baptize liberals' ruthless pursuit of absolute power in the holy water of environmental virtue. I could not agree more. I could not agree more. At its very heart, environmental enthusiasm is decidedly anti human. Stewardship and conservation are supplemented by population control and economic regression. Tell the truth. Okay, now this part, they own it. They own it. Okay. Environmental ideologies would ban the fuels that run almost all the world's cars, planes, factories, farms, and electricity grids. They can't create ain't enough electricity around to make everybody buy an EV. I don't want an electric vehicle. I don't give a damn. I want to run. They don't go nowhere. I drive more than 100 miles. We don't create enough electricity for it. It's some bull crap. Abandoning confidence in human resilience and creativity in responding to the challenges of the future will raise impediments to the most meaningful human activities. They would stand, they would raise impediments to the most meaningful human activities. They would stand human affairs on their head regarding human activity itself as fundamentally a threat to be sacrificed for the good of nature. That's a fact. The same goals are the heart of elite support for economic globalization. For 30 years, America's political, economic, cultural, what is it? Cultural leaders embraced and enriched Communist China and its genocide of Communist Party while hollowing out American industrial base. We may have started out with good intentions, has now been made clear. Unfettered trade with China has been a catastrophe. That's right, because if you think about it, when this nation was created, the nation lived off tariffs. There was no taxes. They taxed all the goods that came in here, and that's how they built the infrastructure and everything. It was based off tariffs, not taxes. Taxes did not come in until 1913 under Woodrow Wilson, and he was a 33rd degree Mason paid off by the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. And that's how we got the Federal Reserve Bank 1913, IRS 1913, private institutions that control our money. The IRS nor the federal is a governmental agency. Don't get me talk. Oh God, I now got mad. Okay. It has made a handful of American corporations enormously profitable while twisting their business incentives away from the American people's needs. That is a fact. Um, for a generation, politicians of both parties the engagement with Beijing would grow our economy while injecting American values into China. The opposite has happened. American factories have closed, jobs have been outsourced, our manufacturing economy has been financialized. Right, because we don't manufacture nothing. No nation can survive without producing anything. How you gonna survive? There's no innovation. And all along, the corporation profiting failed to exploit our values of human rights and freedom. Rather, they imported China's anti American values into their C suits. Even before the rise of big tech, Wall Street ignores China's serial theft of American intellectual property. It outright cheered the elimination of American manufacturing jobs. Learn the code, they would gloat. Those were just the price of progress. Engagement was at every step Beijing's project, not Americans. The Chinese Communist Party (CCP) dictated terms only to break them whenever it suited them. They stole our technology, spied on our people, and threatened our allies, all with trillions of dollars of wealth and military power financed by their access to our market. Then came the rise of big tech, which is now a contributor to the U.S. economy than it is a tool for China's government. In exchange for cheap labor and regulatory special treatment from Beijing, America's largest technology firms funnel data out of Americans to the CCP. They hand over sensitive intellectual property with military intelligence applications to keep the money rolling in. They let Beijing censor Chinese users in their platforms. They let the CCP set their corporate policies about mobile apps, and they run interference for our rivals' political priorities in Washington. One side of big tech companies' business model is old fashioned American competitiveness and world changing technological innovations, but increasingly that side of these businesses is overshadowed by their role as operatives in a lucrative employ of America's most dangerous international enemy. If you want to understand the danger posed by collaboration between big tech and the CCP, look no further than TikTok. Now, I don't have a problem with TikTok. I like TikTok. Now, I would like TikTok to stay. So, the highly addictive video app used by 80 million Americans every month and overwhelmingly popular among teenager girls is an effort or tool of Chinese espionage. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. The same can be observed in many U.S. colleges and universities. Through the CCP Confucius Institutes, Beijing has just as successful at compromising and co-opting our higher education system as they have at compromising and co-opting corporate America. But these really are not many issues, but two. that China is a totalitarian enemy of the United States, not a strategic partner or a fair competitor, and that American elites have betrayed the American people. That is a fact. The solution to all of above problems is not to tinker with this or that government program to replace this or that bureaucrat. These are problems not of technocrat efficiency, but of national sovereignty and constitutional governments. International organizations and agreements that erode our Constitution, rule of law, or popular sovereignty should not be reformed. They should be abandoned. Illegal immigration should be ended, not mitigated. The border sealed, not reprioritized. I 100% agree with that. Yes, I do. Dang. Economic engagement with China should be ended, not rethought. Our manufacturing and industrial base should be restored, not allowed to deteriorate further. Confucius Institute's TikTok and any other arm of Chinese propaganda and espionage should be outlawed. I don't have a problem with TikTok, so I don't. The next conservative president should go beyond merely defending America's energy interests, but go on the offense, asserting them around the world. America's vast resources of oil and natural gas are not an environmental problem, they are the lifeblood of economic growth. I agree. American dominance of the global energy market would be a good thing for the world and, more importantly, for we the people. It is not just about jobs, even though unleashing domestic energy production will create millions of them. I agree with that. It's not just about higher wages for workers who didn't go to college, so they will receive the raises they have missed out for 2 generations. Full spectrum strategic energy dominance will facilitate their reinvigoration of America's entire industrial manufacturing and entangle our economy from China. Globally, it will rebalance power away from dangerous regimes in Russia and the Middle East. It would build powerful alliances with fast growing nations in Africa and provide us with leverage to counter Chinese ambitions in South America and the Pacific. I don't have a problem with part three. I don't have a problem with part three. I'm getting tired because I want to get back into our book. So I'm going to end this there. Tomorrow, I'm going to read part four of Project 2025, which secure our God given individual right to enjoy the blessings of liberty. There's some things I agree in Project 2025. I agree with a lot more than I disagree. I do. So we get back to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, please.